Good evening, viewers. Well, it's evening for me. I don't know what time it is for you. Whatever time it is you are watching this. What we're going to do, we are going to fit some white dials. So as you can see, Vini has this SPA design speedo stroke tachometer. Looks very flash, doesn't it? But the temperature gauge and fuel gauge are still standard, so they're still in black. So what I purchased from the IMM was this sticker pack, which makes your dials white. Unfortunately, I only needed the middle bits. I don't need the speedo or rev counter because they've already been done. So we're just going to take the dash apart and fit these white dials. I think they're relatively straightforward to fit. I'm sure they are, but probably a little bit tricky for someone that's not familiar with cars. So maybe I'll try and film this. A lot of minis, you know, if you've got a walnut dash, it's going to be different. If you've got 3-dial dash, it's probably going to be different. But yeah, I think it's almost the same on most minis, to be honest. So let's crack on. Let's get it done. I do have to confess, I've done this job a few times before, so I'll probably make it look pretty easy. First time I've done it, I wasn't sure where all the screws are, so I'll let you know as we go through. So, heater vent off. Gone, very simple. There's a bit of black trim either side, you just pull that back like that. One on the other side. Turn the ignition off, and there are two posi drive screws, or crosshead, whatever you want to call them, either side. One either side directly behind here, quite hard to see.
Okay, mini enthusiasts, so if you're used to watching my videos, normally at this sort of point we will speed it up.
There we go.
And add some music. But I'm playing around with this new video editing software, and I thought it might be quite nice just to do a video where I don't speed it up.
Oh.
And I just go through the whole lot. So let me know what you think. It might bore you to tears, but yeah, I don't know, might be interesting. So let me know down the bottom.
Next one's a bit of a pain to get to because it's right at the back by the sound deadening, so I always use just a ratchet with the right end on it. Like I say, I have done this, I don't know, 10 times for various different reasons. That's that one. There's a little bit of trim up here. You won't have that on normal minis, it's on Vini. And the only other thing you won't have that's the same is I have an ECU up on the dash here. It's just done clips, and that allows me to get to the second screw at the back. When I built Vini, I did build it knowing I'd have to take it apart again lots of times, so I did do some sensible things like the ECUs on its clips, so you just unclip it to move it out of the way. So that's basically it. 4 screws out, pull it forward. Now on the normal Mini you're going to have a speedo cable on the back of there, which you just unclip and pull off, and there will be probably 1 or 2 other plugs. In fact, there'll be 2 in the back of the dash, like that. Vini only has that one plug. It doesn't have a speedo cable because it's digital, so I've just got to disconnect a bit of additional wiring around the back here. grey goes to black and red. That's just if I forget putting it back together. I can re-watch the video and have a look. And that's it, pretty simple. Like I say, it is different on Vini. So you'd normally have a speedo cable going onto there. And it does just have the single plug. But if next bit's pretty simple, to be fair. There's this one screw on the top here which holds this bracket in place. Put that there. Make sure we don't scratch up the face of that. 4 screws. Should separate the face plate now. He says, although it doesn't on Vini, because there's digital speedo still connected. So what I now need to do, there's these screws on the back here that allows you to remove the fuel gauge and temperature gauge. I'm doing a job like this, I just try and lay things out in the order they come out. And when I put it back together, as you'll see here, different size screws, they all go back in the same holes. There is a couple of little brackets inside here that kind of, when you undo like the last screw, or you can hear them drop out. First time I've done it, I'm like, oh my god, never going to work out how to get this back together. But they're pretty simple. I'll show you in a moment. Did you hear that? That's them dropping out. So little brackets, I can't remember which screw holes they sit in, but you can work it out just by looking. So that's them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws, and then turn it over again. Now I need to take the plastic screen off the front, and again, slightly different in Vini because the plastic screen's been cut in half, so it would normally have a plastic screen on that side as well. They just clip in little tags, and then there's the outer bezel, little tags again. That comes out. Stickers have got to go on one part of this. See if we can get right in here. And then this is a delicate bit, you want to be careful. Just lift this out. See these little brackets inside now? One just moved there, so they fit in. I think they're in the right place at the moment, or were. Let's put the other one back. Nope, not quite. I think that's how they sit in there. So when you go back together, you just lay them in there and then put the gauge in. Carefully put the screws in the back. So these are the bits we need. Going on there. been heat wrapped to the other bit. So this is a Nippon Seiki 2nd gen 90 mile an hour. I don't know, I only want the middle bits. So what have we got here then? Does that unclip from there? Yes. Bit of hot snot glue on there by the looks of it. Yeah, going to be pretty straightforward, I think. So that bit, I'm not going to touch it with brake cleaner or anything like that, because I reckon it'll probably take the paint off. The fact that it's been in a sealed container all its life should mean there's no oily deposits on it or silicone or anything like that. Suppose if you were being dead careful, which I'm not, you'd give it a wipe over with panel wipe or something. Whee. Oh, don't you crease on me. Doesn't quite fit in that bottom corner. Come off again. It's a little bit fiddly to get on that. Just making sure you get all the air bubbles out of it. And I'm going to have to put a little slot down here.
Powering on.
So I can just overlap that bit so I don't get a crease. You can't see that bottom corner anyway. I was faffing around at that and I didn't need to worry about it. I know it's all right now though. Right, that's that bit. Right, this next bit then. So looks like I've probably got to take some screws out here. Be careful not to damage these because they're quite delicate. Wow, they're tight. This is where you slip and completely wreck it. They are mega tight. How big are those holes? They definitely need to come out. I don't want to go bending anything, because it'll change how the gauge reads. Ooh, there's one. Just that one there is really fiddly to get to. That actually comes out of there now. See what I mean? It's all quite fiddly and sensitive. This is actually far fiddlier job than I thought it was going to be. It's one of those jobs where if you put it all back together and it works, you've done well. Sure, there's people watching this going, what are you going on about, Keith? I do these for a living. They're easy. I've done worse jobs. It's the sort of job you don't mind doing if it's your own car. You don't want to be doing your mate's car though. Where do I grip it again? I'm determined to break something. Oh. Can we cheat? Yeah, by cheat, just using the leverage of that to come round. That should be loose now. Yes. Wow. I think we got away with it. So when you put those screws back in, remember 110 Newton meters. Jeez. I hate little fiddly bits. I haven't quite got sausage fingers yet. Getting there. Older I get. Certainly less delicate to less, what am I talking about? I'm less tolerant, less patient the older I get, and less delicate, I suppose. Bull in the china shop. Right. Now I wonder whether I'm going to do this video with a voiceover like this, talking, or whether I'll add music. Oh, I can hear the kids looming around outside. Should we get them on just for a laugh? Hello? You alright? Oh, hang on. I'll be there in a moment then. I'm just putting some screws in. Dinner's ready apparently. Wonder what's for dinner. I know actually, I do know. I remember going out now. Remember the wife coming in with jacket potatoes. Oh, just sometimes you touch a little bit and you're like, ah, right, 110. Click, click. Click, click. Click, click. It's not really 110, but should we see how that works? So, I haven't checked this. I could be completely wrong. There's like a metal strip in here. Voltage passes through this wire. It's only low voltage. It's coiled around that metal strip there, and that's the output. So let's say that is the temperature gauge. So voltage in here, wound around that metal strip to your temperature gauge. Your temperature gauge is a temperature negative temperature coefficient resistor. So I can't remember what way around that is. The hotter it gets, the lower the resistance, or vice versa, one or the other. So the hotter the engine gets, the lower the resistance. So I can't remember. Look it up. But anyway, so the higher the resistance on the sensor, the more heat this generates in this wire. That heats up that little bit of metal there, causes it to bend, and that will be what controls your temperature gauge. Or your fuel gauge on the other hand. So the fuel sender is just a variable resistor inside the fuel tank. So again, it heats up that strip and that adjusts the fuel gauge. I thought I'd done it all wrong then. Right, so that just goes beyond there now, doesn't it? Should go and have my dinner. I want to get in trouble in a minute. I just want to get them in quickly. Right, so the two tabs in the bottom there, see where they go? This little bit here, let's just make sure we haven't broken any wires so I don't have to take it out again. Nope. I have repaired this in the past. Tricky bit is just getting it down inside here. Oh, I'm literally like a bull in a china shop today. Little metal tabs are in place. Right, one more thing. Can't be leaving the grubby fingerprints on there, can I? I'm going to need to glue that in eye because that's going to come off and it's going to rattle. Old rum plaques, they're great for mixing up glue and filler on. Come on. Give up with that bit because we need to get the same amount out. There we go, a little daub. This is just araldite. I'm going to get in trouble in a minute if I don't go in for dinner. Right, dinner time before I get into trouble. Can leave that to dry. That's rapid set and it'll be done in 5 minutes anyway. Oh, dinner done. That was lovely. Jacket potato with chili con carne, with bacon over the top as well, and mashed up cheese. Right, that's dry now. Right. That's not going to come out now. Make sure it's all clean. Keep that cooked white round in there. I don't know whether these videos are any good doing it like this. I just thought I'd do something a bit different for once. Narrate my way through it. Clip that back in. See like tiny little air bubbles in that. It's a little bit annoying. Right then. I should have left the cover off so I can push it in. Wonder if I can just use gravity. Looks like I can. You need to make sure these screws on the back have a good contact here, because that's what transmits the voltage through to the gauge. I'm going to have to take this out. One of those clips has dropped out. Just goes to prove, don't always get it right first time. Wonder if I can wipe that with it slightly. I shouldn't have wiped it with that wet wipe thing. I don't want to use any sort of cleaner which is going to make it shiny. Wet finger. What actually happened was one of those clips had moved out the way, so let's just get them back in again. What you can actually do by the looks of it is I can put those screws in now. That'll be the way to do it then. So those two screws in the middle there, if you can see where they go, they can stay in position. That'll stop the clips from dropping out. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah. It's a worry when I double guess myself, and so this time I'm gonna hold it with my finger. Like I say, it's a worry when I've done this before and I do it wrong the second time. Right, so that's all the screws and the threaded holes. We'll tighten that up in a moment. Everything's still intact in there, I think. So we don't want any dust on the inside of here, because it's difficult to get to afterwards. Well, you can't get to it without dismantling it, so we'll give it a clean now. Bit of glass cleaner. Just make sure there's no dirty fingerprints on the inside, because that'd really do your head in, wouldn't it? Driving along and all you can see in the gauge is a dirty fingerprint. I feel like this is taking me forever now. Come on, Miller, pull your finger out. Right, is that looking better? Yeah, we're getting there, aren't we? Right, make sure I don't scratch your face. Pretty simple really, isn't it? There ain't much to it. Right, so that is it. That does look much better, doesn't it? It kind of matches now. It's not perfect. I would have liked it with the red fuel gauge and red temperature gauge symbol with maybe the SPA design bit in the middle, but yeah, in the end I just bought one off the shelf, one he had ready to go, but it does look better. Right, there we go. Not quite finished. I've just got to put this bit of trim back. I thought I'd just show that because that's where the ECU hides in Vini. It's just clipped on a bracket there. And yeah, it's pretty discreet once you put that back. Let's just make sure it all works. I'm pretty pleased with that. It looks good. Right, on to the next job.